Hey y'all, good morning. Morning. Welcome back to another video. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if you're new. My name is Chanina. Hey girl, hey. Let me turn this light off because it looks weird in the background. But hey y'all, so happy Thursday. I hope you guys are feeling good and great. I am feeling okay myself. It's kind of chilly this morning, but I got my coffee right here, so I'll heat up in a little bit. But yeah, y'all, so today is my wedding anniversary. It's also my mom's birthday, so she got her birthday gift yesterday, and I was so excited for her. She actually got it intact, okay, because I forgot to put the fragile sticker on there, so she got it intact. She sent me a photo of it last night, so I was happy for her. I talked to her this morning because of course she was calling me to wish me a happy anniversary, and at the same time I'm like, well, hey, happy birthday. So let me give you a little bit of a backstory as to how that even happened, where our anniversary is on the same day as her birthday, because it is kind of crazy how it all transpired, and it gives you guys a little bit more of an insight as to how we actually came together and leading up to where we are now, right? So me and my husband, we met back in 2006, so 2006, and we actually got into a relationship like later 2007, right? How I met him was because I used to work at Roadhouse Grill, and he came in one day for an interview, and we had just opened, so there was no tables or anything like that. I was waiting on my first table, and I decided to eat a salad at the bar, and he just happened to come in for an interview, and that's where they did their interview at the bar. So I'm just doing me, because at the time, to be honest with you, when he first came for the interview, I wasn't even on that. Like, yeah, we was making eye contact and stuff like that, but I was just getting out of a relationship with my ex-girlfriend, and it was like the longest breakup ever, right? And so I was still working with that, okay? So I wasn't even trying to entertain anything else. Not to say that he was trying to get at me like that, although I do know he thought I was cute or whatever, because he couldn't stop looking at me, girl, and that's why we kept catching eye contact, because you can know how you feel when somebody just looking at you and you like, hey, blah. Right? So anywho, girl, so he ended up getting hired, and we worked together a lot, okay? Because at Texas Roadhouse Grill, or I was at Roadhouse Grill. I wasn't at Texas Roadhouse. Girl, that's crazy how that happened, because there was two. A Texas Roadhouse Grill and a regular Roadhouse. Not owned by the same person though. So anyway, I worked at the Roadhouse. So, we had our one grill cook back of the house, and then you had your servers, then you had the bartender who had the whole bar section, right? So me and him worked together pretty often because he was the grill cook. So I worked a lot of morning shifts, and that's the shift he was hired for. But we also worked a lot of night shifts too, because before, when he started working there, I was already in cosmetology school, right? So I was doing serving or waitressing in the morning and then schooling at night. So time he'd been working there, and time had went on for a while, months and months, and it was just cool, you know what I mean? Now, the crazy part about that is my ex-girlfriend also worked at Roadhouse Grill, but right before he got hired, no, I'm lying. A little bit right after he was hired, she ended up quitting because we couldn't work together. Like I said, we was at the end of our relationship, and it was just a lot of drama. And it was falling into the workplace. So she ended up chunking the deuces, and she went somewhere else, right? Well, I kept my job because I needed the coin. And it was convenient. It was in an area where it didn't take me that long to get to school. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't want to mess that up. So anyway, y'all. So moving right along. So we became cool. And then like all of a sudden, he started riding the bus with me. Like he would walk with me to the bus stop. And what was crazy was because I would just, we would just have regular conversation. And because my life experience is always involved my ex, okay, because we were together for almost 10 years. So, and I didn't date anybody else. I haven't had a relationship prior to her, and he is the relationship afterwards. So I didn't have a whole lot of life experiences relationship wise to compare it to. So it seemed like I was always talking about her, but I was really just talking about my experiences. But he was listening, girl. He was in tune. He would ask questions and stuff, and he wouldn't bash her or nothing like that, because he knew her too. That was the other thing. He knew her too, but he didn't know her like I knew her. He was just getting to know her, because again, when he started working there, she was working there at that time too. So anyway, you know, this went on for some time. You know, he would walk with me to the bus stop, and then we'd get on the bus. I'd go my separate way, he'd go his separate way. But then he started getting on the bus to the direction that I was going, and he would literally go with me to school. You know, it was almost like he was dropping me off, but just on the bus, you know what I mean? So yeah, he would take my bag, carry my bags and stuff like that. Like, he did this for a while. And at first I was just like, oh, you know, still wasn't really thinking about it, because to be honest with y'all, I had so much anger on the inside from my ex that any advances that he made went right over my head, because I'm not the type of person that thinks just because somebody being nice to me, they want to hook up with me or whatever, right? So I didn't think like that in the beginning. So I probably missed a lot of hints that he was actually trying to, you know, get to know me and talk to me. But because I was so caught up in what I had going on with her and trying to get over that and release that frustration, girl, I probably missed all the signs. But for the most part, he did do that pretty often. He was pretty consistent. And because of that, that's when I started noticing. Because after a while, after I got out of my own head, I started wondering or saying to myself, like, why is he always riding with me to the bus stop? Like, I don't know nobody who does that, you know what I mean? But he did it so much, it became like a thing. Like, that was a thing we did, you know? It was so weird. So anyway, we did that for a while, and I was still going through some stuff with her. And he was just a friend, you know, like, honestly, like, he didn't try to have sex with me or nothing like that. He didn't, you know, try to force anything. Like, he didn't make comments or anything like that would turn me off. He was really just there listening to all of my crap, basically. Now that I'm looking back, I'm like, dang, I don't know if I would have sat around and listened to all that, you know what I'm saying? Because I had a lot going on at the time, okay? But anyway, needless to say, you know, we became really, really cool. And then we started hanging out outside of work, like outside of him just riding with me to the bus. And he was introducing me to his friends, which are very cool, by the way. I mentioned one of them the other day about the engagement. She was getting engaged. So anyway, he introduced me to his friends. They're older. You know, the vibe was just real cool. And then we just became really cool, right? So here's how it was like we became friends, and then he kind of like never left. Okay, I'm gonna tell you why I say that. Because right at the very, very end of me and my ex breaking up, right, I had too much pride to move back to my parents' house. We had lost the apartment and moved into her mom's house, but she was doing too much, and it just started going downhill really, really fast. And instead of going to my parents' house, what I did was I rented out a hotel room. It was like an efficiency almost. And you paid every week. And it was walking distance from the cosmetology school that I was going to. So instead of having to travel from all the way across town to get to where I needed to go to school and go to work, because both my job and school was right in the same vicinity, right? So instead of coming all the way from the other side of town to do all of that, I just was like, bump it. I'm just going to get this hotel room. I'm just going to thug it out here until I can get back on my feet. And that's what I did. And then, like, all of a sudden, I had invited him over one day and I cooked some food. You know, I was hungry, so, you know, I was feeding myself anyway. So I made something to eat, and we chilled out for a little bit and been together ever since. Okay, like, we haven't separated since then. So, girl, yeah. So interesting, Olivia came a little bit later. I did not get pregnant with her like right when we first started dating or anything like that. She came a little bit later on. And you know, so it's been an interesting ride. It's been really interesting getting to know what it's like to be in a relationship with a guy, because I had never been in one, not a long-term one anyway. I'm counting my adult life. I'm not talking about the little childish stuff in high school and all that stuff, the do you like me, yes or no checkbox type of stuff. Like, I ain't talking about all that. I'm talking about in my adult life, like after I'm, you know, out of high school. So this is only my second experience with a relationship, and it just happens to be with a guy. And so, you know, it's been really, really interesting. I've learned a lot. One thing that I can say is that men and women definitely do think differently, and it can be a little frustrating at times, but you know, it is what it is. So yeah, just a little backstory on that, how we met and everything. We actually got married at the courthouse. It was like one of those spur of the moment type of situations, because he had asked me, he had proposed to me a few times. Like, I've got every ring he proposed to me with. I still have it. Like, this is one of them. This is the one that he proposed to me the last time, years before we actually went and got married. So this one, we just didn't replace it. I just kept it. And then I have another one that doesn't fit any of my fingers. I had lost a lot of weight. So anyhow, girl, so one day he called. He was at work. I was working. I had just started working on the Arise platform, and I was servicing my first client. And he calls me one day and was like, hey, I just found out that they do free weddings at the courthouse on Fridays downtown at the main courthouse. And I was like, oh, okay, you know. And he was like, so what's up? And I was like, okay, what's up, you know. And that's kind of how that went. Next thing I know, about a week later, we at the courthouse filling out paperwork and stuff, because you know, you got to get the marriage license and all that jazz. So we're doing all that. By this time, now the reality of the whole thing is kicking in, because he has asked me before, but it was the presentation. It was the way it came about in the past. I couldn't really take him seriously, especially since we never really talked about any type of stuff like that. Like, he's one of those people that doesn't really show his affection. He doesn't really talk about how he feels. He doesn't, none of that. So it's kind of like a guessing game almost, unless you just ask him directly. But even that sometimes can be a little bit confusing. Because I don't think he's ever had to really do that with anybody else, like express himself and all that. Anywho, but yeah, y'all, so I wasn't taking it seriously until we were actually sitting there and filling out all this, you know, these papers, these documents and stuff. And then we're setting a date, you know, because you got to pay for your marriage license. So we're setting a date, and the lady goes, well, I have this date available, that date available. And it just happens to be that very next week there was a space available, and it was for the same day as my mom's birthday. So we went ahead and got that appointment to come back to the courthouse on that day. And what's funny is I had no plans on telling anybody until after the fact. But what ended up happening was, the time that we were supposed to be at the courthouse, Olivia would have still been in school. So coincidentally, okay, I was talking to my mom right after we had been to the courthouse, did the marriage license thing and all that. And, you know, I was talking to her. I forget what we were talking about, but I remember trying to keep the conversation related to her birthday, because her birthday was literally coming up. And so, you know, I'm asking her, hey, what you gonna do and stuff like that. And it just came out, you know, because she asked me something and I couldn't lie. And I was like, well, we're going to get married on that day. Because I think she was like, well, what are y'all doing? Or what? I don't know. I can't even remember what it was. Because her birthday fell on the weekend, or, you know, a Friday. That's what it was. It fell on a Friday. And I think we were talking about, I think I was asking her, you know, you going out of town, you know, that stuff. And she's like, well, what y'all going to do? Blah, blah, blah. With no idea that we had planned to go get married, right? So I ended up telling her, and it all actually worked out. I mean, it was kind of bittersweet, to be honest with you. It worked out because she ended up was off on her birthday, and I needed somebody to watch Olivia because the time we were supposed to be at the courthouse, Olivia was still going to be in school. So I needed somebody to watch the baby. Okay. So I'm saying the baby. She was, school age. She was like in first, second grade, one of the two. I can't even remember, girl. But anywho, girl, so my mom, she's all excited and stuff, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is so crazy because now I'm starting to feel bad because my dad doesn't know, right? So, of course, because of the situation, I say, well, hey, yeah, come with us so that you can, sit with Olivia. And that's basically what happened. I went and got Olivia out of school, and I'll put a picture up if I can find it of what I actually wore that day. I just wore plain clothes, just a skirt, sweater or whatever. And my mom was there, Olivia was there. So I say it was bittersweet because none of our other family was there. Like I said, we wasn't going to tell anybody. I mean, we had been together for so long. It would have been like one of those about time type of situations anyway. You get what I'm saying? So we wasn't gonna tell nobody. And then his parents stay about an hour away. So, you know what I'm saying? We hadn't prepared for like a whole shindig. Okay. We was just gonna go to the courthouse, get married, and then he go back to work, and then I go back to work. Boom. That's how we was gonna do that. But we ended up hooking up with my brother and his wife because they were throwing a shindig for my mom. And before we could even get out of the courthouse, she had already hit everybody up to let them know, right? Before I could say anything. Thanks, Mom, but it's okay. It's cool. Love her to pieces. I get her stance in that, no one wants to have information and then somebody's all in, asking, why you didn't say nothing? Why you didn't say? So I get it. But yeah, so, that was the bittersweet part about it because it was like, dang, I heard my dad, I guess he felt the way because he wasn't there, which of course, I'm his only girl, and who doesn't want to see their daughter get married, right? But it was just the way that everything happened. So it wasn't anything intentional. It wasn't anything like that. And I had to explain it to him, like, trust me, none of his parents were there either. It just so happened. Mom was off that day. She said she could watch Libby while we go on and get married. And Libby was there at the courthouse too. So anyway, yeah, girl. So that's how we hooked up. And we've been together ever since. And it's funny because I laugh about it sometimes about how long we've been together because it's definitely been interesting. Like he always says to me, man, I am so surprised like you have so much patience with me because he knows how he is and I've grown to learn how he is too. And I'm a chill person. You know what I'm saying? I'm not finna nitpick on everything. Now, are there some things that do absolutely get on my nerves or make me feel away? Yes. But there are some things that are workable. You know what I mean? So, anyway, so I said all that to say I got him a gift and I'm cooking dinner. We're not going to go anywhere because it's a weekday and it's still COVID. All right, y'all. So we're done cleaning the nightstand. It was very unorganized, which is why I got this gift for him. So my thought was, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put it together, set it up for him. He gets home, boom, surprise, right? But he got off early today, y'all. I had no idea, so he caught me off guard with that, and so he just left for a few moments. So I was able to go ahead and get this cleaned off. Went ahead and did his card, and I'm not gonna put this together because look at how this is packaged, y'all. This is so nice. It's packaged really, really nice. I can appreciate some good packaging, but this is a wooden docking station. Thought there was going to be like a good picture, but you guys can kind of get the idea, and I'll just post a photo on the screen so you have an idea of what it looks like. But look at how this is wrapped, so I don't want to mess that up. So I was like, okay, well, let me close it back and I'll let him put it together because I don't want to take the joy out of it. But essentially it'll create some organization on his nightstand, and I'm pretty sure he'll appreciate that.